Okay, we're back here. Now we're going to do one more video today, even though usually I've been doing about one a day lately. So I just got back from the dentist here shortly ago, and good news is I don't need to get any real teeth work done. I do need to get 2 crowns, but I can put those off for a while until I get financially secured. Um, but yeah, so my teeth are fine. I got told I'm doing so well that I didn't even have buildup in my teeth, which they said was unusual. And then apparently I don't have wisdom teeth. So this is really weird. So I've been having this discomfort at the back of my mouth for like the longest time, and I've been thinking this is where my wisdom teeth were coming in, and I needed to get them taken care of. But they ran X-rays, and they're like, "You don't have wisdom teeth," and I'm like, "What? I never got them removed. So where did they go?" And they're like, "You could be one of those rare people that doesn't have them." Now I'm a little hesitant to trust their opinion on this because, well, they only found 2 cavities. I know there's more than 2 there. Because last couple times I went in there, they're like, "Hey, you have 30-something cavities," and then like they just magically disappeared. Either I pulled off some voodoo and my teeth magically healed themselves, or they didn't look hard enough. Either way, the problem with my teeth is pretty much taken care of, and they told me just cut back on soda for a couple months, and most of the pain will go away on its own, and then I could just get the 2 crowns taken care of whenever I can afford it, which is gonna be a while. Luckily, it's not super expensive. It's about the cost of a new Xbox per tooth. So let's see where we left off. We were working on the render system. I didn't do any more code here after we cut off because as soon as I cut the video, I went ahead and threw it on the upload docket, and then went ahead and headed out. Got stuck in traffic repeatedly. Yeah, we took the back roads and we still managed to hit traffic because there was an accident up on the road that blocked off the main highway. Which is okay, I guess. Could be worse. But let's see. So yeah, we'll go ahead and work on this more. Not a huge amount left to do. I mean, as I said, we really only got to work on render code to get everything back up and updated again. And then as soon as we get that done, then we can go into implementing the medium missile. When the medium missile is implemented, we can do the crafting system, then get the fueling system layered on. So about another week, and we could see the medium missile implemented. Although I got to do a lot with the crafting, so it may be a week where we can play with it, and then a couple more weeks before it's usable in game from a survival point of view. Not that the whole mod is highly usable from a survival point of view. I got to go through and fix a lot of the crafting recipes and rebalance them and implement some tools and machines. I was hoping to have basic industries done by now, but we all know that the schedule I had put forward fell behind by quite a while. I was really building that schedule with the understanding that I'd pick up a couple more developers, or the developers that we did have would be contributing more, but not a single plan I have ever made has gone well. And I think what I need to do is start studying project management a little bit better than I have been, so I can foresee these problems coming down the road rather than just go, yeah, we're good, we'll be fine, and then find out, well, we're not going to be fine. So once again, I can't even fire that, can I? Yeah, it's an empty. So we got an empty casing still here, and yeah, it's working. I mean, we're getting good rendering off this one. So we're pretty much done with the micro here. We still got to do the small, which won't take too long to do, and then we got to do the standard, and then we got to add a brand new tab for the large. And then we gotta get these guys converted to JSON at some point in time too. That won't take as long as it took this stuff. Because I've already got the foundational work done for the missiles. All I gotta do is duplicate the code over for each new module we want to add. And I'll probably just prefab it out as much as possible. That way we just have something that's called like the modular loader, and then you just define new modulars based on your type. Because after all, we gotta do warheads, then we gotta do various other things. My brother just threw a piece of rope at me. Yeah, I don't think he got the idea that I told him I was going to do laundry. Now he's doing it himself. He doesn't seem to have a lot of patience of understanding that. I'll get to it. Anyways, so let's get to work, I guess. So we're going to do the small one, and then we'll hit up the standard here. So go ahead and save and exit because we have to go import a lot of the models and everything. So we got the small here, and what we really just want to do is just take this entire section here. Yeah, and the texture down at the bottom, and we just want to paste it right in here. A lot of the code is recyclable. This isn't even code, by the way, for those who don't. Oh, you're coding, but no, this is data. It's not even scripting. You're literally filling in a data sheet. Think of it like filling out an application for a job. You're doing the same exact thing. You're just putting the boxes in until you get all the information in there. That's the same thing we're doing here. Each of these is a box, you can think of it as. So we're filling in the box. It's called a render, and you can actually even downscale these to just understand that concept. So you got your render box, and then you would have your box that would tell you, okay, what are you trying to render? We're trying to render a micro missile. What is our type? Or an item. Even though our type is item, we actually are rendering a lot more than just an item here. The only reason you declare your type as an item is that a lot of this stuff will not work. It will not register properly, and I need to get around to fixing that. I think what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to put a section in here going helpers is what it's going to be called. So you have render and you have something called helpers, and you'll have something that will be called an item render helper or a tile render helper, and you'll register this so that way you can selectively pick what type of render infrastructure you want to use for your system. So instead of being forced to use the item render infrastructure, somebody could go out there and make a mod that has a much better item render structure, and then you load it up in here, and it feeds in the same data, but then all of a sudden maybe it has like 6 or 7 different fields. Like you could change the lighting, the shading, the texture loading. You can maybe have baked models and assets. One of the big things we want to do with a lot of our 3D stuff is we want to start baking them as 2D assets, so that way when you're farther than 64 blocks away, you still see that 3D model loaded and rendering, but what it did is it faked itself into a 2D implementation, so that way you still get a good fast render speed, but then it looks like it's still there. And that's something we kind of want to look at. I have a buddy, well, let me phrase this, ex-buddy, because he decided to prove that he's a thief, so anyways, ignoring that because I don't want to do a video on that because that'll come back to bite me. But yeah, he made an entire game where the entire game was 2D driven, even though it looked like 3D. So it was kind of played like the old Wolfenstein and Doom games, so you felt like you were in a 3D world, but it was two-dimensional. But of course, he did have some more advanced graphics in there, but it looked nice. It played well. It did need a lot of work still. That's when I kind of got kicked out of the team, is when it still needed a lot of work. But he managed to go sell it, and he managed to make almost $1 million off of the game, so I guess he did well, although I feel like he was lying to me when he said he got that much money. Anyways. Okay, so let's keep working on here. And as soon as we're done with this video, I gotta go talk to my client. So yeah, we got this in here, so now we want to just go ahead and rename this. So now we know we're rendering a small missile. And we just want to go through here and just rename all this stuff. So make sure we're using the correct ID. A lot of the render rotation and stuff will probably work exactly the same. We probably won't have to mess with a lot of it because a lot of the missiles are built with about the same render code over and over again. We will have to figure out where this icon is, which is not too hard to do, so we'll go ahead and pop it open, and my client is just spamming my chat. Yeah, I'll just leave that open over there. I'll have to go ahead and reply to him. He's probably going to insist on having some new code here pretty soon, and I kind of regret I haven't spent a lot of... Okay, so let's see. We want to go Volts Engine, here, ICBM, and you know what, I'm going to go ahead and pause the video here, and I'll be right back. Okay, so we're back here. I'm done talking to my client. I actually just flat out turned off Discord after talking to him. Hopefully he doesn't mind too much. Really quick though, I lost track of that spot. Let me get the back button here. Oh yeah, so I was going to talk about Acala's sponsor here, so they asked me to do a thing for it real quick. I apologize for having to do this, but they are a sponsor, and they actually do have really good servers. But anyways, they just got Pocket Edition released here. So you guys can now rent Pocket Edition Minecraft servers from them. Ark in 7 days are coming here pretty soon. As soon as they actually get Ark up, we're going to try to secure an Ark server with them. This will be for the fact that we do plan to start doing Ark mods down the road. And we want to be able to use something other than my current box for the Ark server, as it runs, but I'm really limited on what I can and cannot do with my network, why I have game servers running on my local network. This is one of the main reasons why YouTube videos take so long to upload now, is that I wait until everybody logs off the server, which usually takes till like 5 in the morning, to finally upload servers and stuff, or upload files, etc., etc. But we're going to probably get one of these up. It will be maybe a public server. We haven't exactly figured out how we want to handle this yet. For those who like going like, but oh, you were asking for money a couple days ago. I actually will not be paying for the Arc server. This will be more than likely paid by other people on the team, and people who join the server will be contributing towards the cost of this. More than likely, it won't cost any more than say like a lunch at McDonald's. There's Accolist servers prices are pretty good. You pay for the RAM, and likelihood is if we can just use our current RAM budget we have from Accolist. They give us a certain amount of RAM to use for all 3 of our servers. And we could just split off some RAM for Arc until we get those other servers up. After all, we have a box for volts, ohms, and amps. We're probably going to get another one for hertz here soon when it comes out. Those packs are not quite finished, so they're not really hosted, but we're going to get those up here eventually. Anyways, back to what we were doing. So we got this thrown together here, and we kind of have some code going, but we need to get the icon really quick, is what we were doing before I had to step away to talk to a few people here. So this will be main, resources, assets, ICBM, textures, items, and there should be a small missile texture here. I do need to go grab the new standard missile one. As you guys can see, this one looks horrible. I actually had somebody bake me a brand new texture for that I need to implement. It's probably been sitting in the storage for quite a while. What we're going to do, by the way, before we go ahead and load this up, is I'm going to copy this. I'm going to throw this into the standard while I'm at it as well. That way we kill 2 birds with 1 stone, and we don't have to reload the game twice to do this. We are going to want to go ahead and fix the name on this, but we do need to go ahead and grab all this stuff up. So make sure we rename these guys so that way they are named properly. And I'm going to assume that when it comes to the texture down here, it's just called standard, which I'm thinking I'm correct on. Yeah, it's standard. I'm trying to remember where I threw that baked texture at though. I want to say it might actually be in this folder, but I'm a little hesitant in turning on image icons in some of my main Google Drives because we occasionally do have stuff in here that is confidential. I don't see anything. That's what I'm looking for, is that right there. I actually think that is functional. That's one of the baked renders I got from Green. So Green Cafe did a bake render. He also did a nice icon for us too. But I need to figure out where that file is. So try and job hunting folder. By the way, this folder is empty. We were planning on having an exclusive folder on Google Drive for patrons, but I ended up just giving you access to the main work folders, which I kind of wanted to avoid doing, but there's no harm. You guys can't do anything to the folders. So I want to say we're probably somewhere in here. Green does have his own folder in here. Yeah, he's been trying to work on logos for the organization too. This what I'm looking for? You know what? That may be what I'm looking for. That is... Let's go ahead and open it up with GIMP and take a look at it. Now he made these with, I believe, Photoshop is what these were made with. I wish he put the Photoshop files in here, although I do see an AI file. I'm not sure what these are though. These may be a Photoshop file and I'm just not familiar with it. I do have Photoshop on this computer though, so I don't know why it isn't showing up as one. Although that copy of Photoshop, by the way, for you guys are asking, is my brother's copy of Photoshop. It's not mine, so that's the reason I don't use it. He'll get on my computer occasionally and he'll use it, so... My computer, at some point in time, was better than his. He now has a new Intel computer, so his computer is better than mine now. It runs better too. It runs amazingly quiet. His computer does. It's an older tower, so he's got an older i5, or I know it says i7 in it, and I'm running with a AMD that's equivalent to what was I thinking? Yeah, equivalent to I think a low grade i5. It's got 8 cores on it, but it doesn't run like it has 8 cores. It runs well though. I was planning on actually upgrading but with all these expenses that are coming up, I had to cut that plan. Yeah, I think I got pixelized pretty bad. What is our dimensions on this guy? Canvas size. Canvas size is not correct. Maybe he gave me a better version of this. I have a feeling like my other computer has got a nicer looking version of this on it. let's go ahead and brush this guy up. What does our current eye icon look like? So we need to rotate this thing. Put this over there, and I want to put this over there as well. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit save. We're going to save an icon file there. It's going to be a GIMP file. Let's drag this guy in here real quick. So yeah, we can see that our standard missile is way bigger. It does look nicer though. Wait, so let's rotate this first. Actually, we don't even need to rotate. We just need to invert it. Okay, so that's I need to then do vertical inversion. There we go. So now it's facing the correct direction. Let's position it a little better. It's a little lopsided for some reason. I think it's just how the thing's designed. What other icons do we have in here? So we got the small icon, which is, you can see how big it is, but it looks kind of nice. The problem with the standard missile and any missile bigger than it is it's really hard to get icons for these guys because they're just big. So let's take a look. I'm just going to go ahead and save this, and we're not going to use this for the moment. I have to go figure out what we're going to do that, because that resolution is just too small. I'll see if Green still has some files on hand, and that he can just give me some new stuff. Grogger's talking to me here. I told him I'd probably get wisdom teeth removed here today, but that didn't happen. So they looked at my teeth and they're like, "Hey, you don't have any," and I'm still surprised that that's what they told me. So we got our missile icons up. Everything looks good. Let's go ahead and boot the game up and then reposition things, and then as soon as I'm done with this, I can go tether the two videos together. Well, actually, speaking of which, let me go grab that. Yeah, by the way, look at my massive video folder. This is the reason I have a 3 TB drive in this computer. Is I started doing recordings here a couple years ago, and I found out really quickly that it's a really bad idea to try to store a lot of recordings on a small drive. Yeah. Speaking of which, desktop drives aren't that expensive. It was go like, oh, I would like to have a 3 TB. I picked mine up for literally $30 from Newegg on sale. You actually can find a lot of those prices like that on their site. If you guys actually want to go browse through there and figure things out. That's where I buy a lot of my equipment. It's the reason I got Grogger a really nice one for his computer for rather cheap. I think I spent like $80, $90 on his. Although because his was a laptop drive, it cost me a bit more than normal. But it's a Barracuda from Seagate, I believe, and they're really reliable drives. I have a couple of them. I actually need to get some more if I plan to continue doing recordings, because I found out doing video editing takes even more space. I still haven't figured out how Adobe Premiere. I think I'm going to start using After Effects if I ever can afford it. I could buy a student license, but yeah, prices on student licenses are still expensive. I don't know how video professionals even afford their software. Something tells me they don't, and they just get their software at a later date. Okay, so we got all the small icons are working, all the standard icons are working. Now let's see if I hold one. Positioning looks good. If we toss it out, looks good. It needs some Y level adjustments. You know what? That looks pretty good. Other than the fact that when you swing it, it looks like you're swinging the bottom half, but then when you're in first person, you're swinging the top half. I'm going to just say that's a Minecraft failure. I don't think anybody's going to notice. Man, that's a really awkward type thing right there. So, okay, we got the big guy. Okay, big guy's not rendering. Yep, okay, big guy's broken. Actually, you know what? The big guy's broken. We didn't load up his model. So he's relying on a model from the shared asset file. So we got to go ahead and declare that, and he should be fixed. And then we just load back in game, and we go ahead and get that done. And I can call this video done for today. More than likely, I'll probably do a couple more videos this weekend here, since I haven't done a lot this week. Though some of the videos we'll do this weekend are more than likely going to be work on the consultant stuff or the commission stuff. since I got to get this done. I don't know, maybe if I get a sleepless night here, I'll get them all done and we can just go back to ICBM. Although, I think some of you guys do enjoy seeing something other than ICBM occasionally. Gives you something fresh to look at. I need to go find the missile texture skins. So, yeah, we wanted textures, models, missile skins. Do we not have a standard missile skin? That's right there. Ah, that explains a lot. Yeah, it looks like the standard missile skin is a little funky. We got some fins, and then we've got a standard body. I don't think the fins actually are functional. I'm gonna have to go look at how we render these in a second, but I'm gonna rename this to default. And that way we get our default missile skin. And I may just have somebody redo the standard missile for me real quick. Probably ask Alex here later, I don't know. It's not exactly a priority, so I may just try to do it myself. But I think what's happening is we might be using these for the fins maybe, or I might just be colorizing them. But let's go ahead and do the model real quick, because I know the model at least is going to be in one piece, but the fins may have a separate texture. So this will be standard. By the way, the people who keep asking about the naming convention of these, I'm doing it off the base metric system. So if you ever do the metric system, you go like milli, micro, and then there's at some point there's a base, and you got centimeters. So I'm doing about the same style. So you got micro, small, standard, large, extra large is kind of what it's working towards. To be honest, actually naming them after units probably would have been pretty cool, but I think I would have got confusing rather quickly, considering that this is 5 blocks tall, this is 0.8 blocks tall, medium is 16, and then the small is like 2 point something. We gotta get the name here. What is thou name of missile? Pop over here real quick. Actually, that's not what I wanted. Not enough brain cells to do some of this stuff today. At least I got a little better rest, even though I've only slept for a little bit today. A lot better than what I've got the previous few days. So let's see. Plus I slept in the car, which was really nice. There's something about sleeping in a car that's always nice. Okay, here we go. Here's the model name. So that should work. We should get our model loaded. The problem is going to be these fins. Now, I did keep the render code for the missile size. I didn't delete any of it. And this is exactly why I didn't delete it, is I knew there was a high possibility that we could end up with something not matching up. We don't even item render anymore, but it's cool to see that there's code for it. Okay, so here's our fins. We do have a fin texture. And yeah, there's a fin texture. So that's good to know. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this. And we're actually going to need the fin texture out here. So I'm going to paste it real quick here. It's going to show some errors, but it's going to be fixed in a second. And we'll go ahead and do that. So we'll get texture 7 loaded. And what they'll do is we'll just call this .fins. And then we'll copy this part.
Did I buy this?
Bro, you just toss it. Whatever. Brother just came in here and just tossed a dusty ass fan on my table. So yeah, the standard model is going to need to be updated. So let's go. Actually, I was just in that. You know, that's the folder I wanted. So we got fins. So I need to rename these to default.fins. So right now this means every time somebody wants to change the texture for this body chassis, they're going to have to use two textures right now. We'll rectify this. I don't like having more than one texture sheet. The only time it's acceptable to have more than one texture sheet is when you get a lot of complicated parts, or the text or the thing you're texturing is really large. So like the larger missiles are fine. But this guy, I think I've talked to my modeler Morton about it a few times. And I don't know what happened. I probably told him just go ahead and just get it done, because there's a lot of those times where we spend too much time talking about like what we should do or what we shouldn't do, and if I ever get in a situation like that, I'm just like, get something done because we can just fix it later. There's a saying that you never have enough time to do it right, but you always have the time to redo it. It's I forget who said that, but it's a really good saying. So we got this going. This means that in our render code, we're going to have to do a layered render. I'm trying to think of the best way to do this because I can't remember the last time I did this. There's a way to do the layered render system. But we close this because we are good on a lot of this stuff here. Close that, close that, close that, close that. The only thing we are concerned with is this guy. So this means that the base render system is going to need to be told to render everything but the fence. And that means I actually do need to open this back up, because this will tell me what I have. So there'll be parts. It'll be like except. I think it's what it is. I'm going to have to check that. I don't think it's how it is. So I believe I did come up with some kind of system to do this. This is where I badly need to write stuff down. I actually started writing it and documenting things. The other day I went ahead and started working on the Armory wiki, and we're not talking about the gameplay wiki, we're talking about the developer wiki, because that's where I'm talking about I need to write down a lot of the developer stuff. The gameplay stuff, yeah, that definitely needs to be written down, but we'll get to it. So let's go ahead and see. I believe I need the processor. I want to say it's the render processor. We got states. We got the for loop system, which we've covered before. So I don't see anything there. Don't see anything there. There's a handling system. There's a render type. Okay, so we're gonna need the subprocessor then. There's a parent. So I think of the way it works is through the parent system. I need to figure this out because we're definitely missing something. Okay, so there's a model state processor, there's an item state. So it's probably the model state processor. Offset, scale, rotation, there's all our yaw, there's our tile. There's render only parts. Ah, here we go, render parent. So we need to make sure that's true. So we found one piece of it. Go back to, I believe it's this guy. And it's parts. And then there's render only parts, and then there's render parts. Now I believe there's a inversion system for how this works. At least there's supposed to be. So there's parts. There's all. I don't want to list all the parts out because that would be a pain in my butt. There should be like a render all except system. Maybe it is this system right here. So render only parts. So render. Maybe this needs to be false. So we want to put this in here. Definitely need to start documenting this stuff. By the way, the render, this part here is going to be actually put in a different section. So this will be body, This will be base. This means we need to do parent on this object. And this is going to be body. So how this will work is when it goes to render base, it'll also render this guy. So we're going to render the body. We don't need this piece. We do need, yes, we need that, so that's in there. So render parent, render only true, and then we need our texture. So it'd be fence. I think that's what we call that, right? Let's take a look at it real quick. And what we got record time? Yeah, so I need to probably finish this up. Getting there. Okay, so fins. Yeah, I think we're good. The odd thing is I think we got only two objects in this missile body for whatever reason it happened. I think this is how this works. We'll tweak it if it's not how it works, and we'll get it figured out. Okay, so yeah, texture's good, parts are good. I'm not quite sure if the texture is going to be weird, because I don't remember if we've actually sat there and screwed with the layered render system too much. I can't think of what model we actually used it on, because it was implemented for a reason, because I don't just implement code whenever I want to. Usually I implement it when it's actually needed. So model type base, it's good enough we can go ahead and launch. Get that taken care of, that way I can then go do chores so my brother doesn't throw a fit. And then I gotta, I think, fix his fan, because I think his fan just croaked. He came in here and he tossed one of those double bladed wind fans that you can buy from Walmart for like 20 bucks on my bed. They're the ones that go in the windows. He runs these things like non-stop and he wonders why they break. Probably one of the windings just burn up on it. I can probably fix it, but I don't know. It ain't worth it. I mean, if it was like an AC unit motor, it would be worth fixing. But those motors, I think, are only worth like $1 or $2. Actually, probably talk to my dad. He'll probably tell me how to fix it really quickly. I used to fix stuff like this nonstop for a good long while. I used to actually sit there and watch him. What he would do is, after his shift when he would do HVAC repair, he would sit in a McDonald's and he would sit there going through and checking the windings on really expensive AC motors and fix them. That way he could use that replacement part to repair somebody else's AC unit and save that customer a good deal of money. Because he would sell, like, for example, like a new motor would be like $1,000, but he would turn around and sell that to the customer at like $100, telling him, yeah, it'll probably fail, but it may not fail for a year or two. So that way you got more time to replace that motor until you can get one. Of course, he also did this because, well, there was other problems. Yeah, things are not rendering correctly. I mean, they're rendering. Clearly, they're rendering. So yeah, I mean, it's working. I'll go ahead and I'll fix the fin issue here later. It's probably just the order of how I've got the parents marked on it is just not correct. But so far, it looks okay. Actually, it's probably the texture is what I messed up on. No, I changed the texture down there too. Oh well, I'll figure it out later. I'll see you guys later, and hopefully get some more content for you as well.